we've got a few different things going on. Hashtag boycott Uber, hashtag boycott Starbucks. But what is actually going on as far of Silicon Valley's luminaries regarding Trump's immigration ban, or rather, Muslim ban? So we have a lot of different things happening. If I mentioned off the top, we have Uber. There's been a huge controversy with Uber in terms of letting their drivers run off surge pricing during a taxi strike.
Yep.
And then weirdly, they've now decided to donate $3 million into a defense fund for their drivers.
The panic donations, I said.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. That reaction, too, was also like, I'm with a lot of other people like Elon Musk and Bob Iger, and we're all the same. You know, it was kind of...
Give them the money!
And then Lyft may have gotten some earned or maybe unearned good publicity from that.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel personally about Lyft, because it's like, for one, it's great they're donating $1 million to the ACLU.
Yeah.
However, Lyft is in the business of pushing down Uber and taking advantage of opportunities, so I don't know if I want to read it that way. Yeah. And then we can get into this bigger argument of, is a corporation inherently moral or amoral? And it's just like, whoa. But we do actually have some words that have come from some of the biggest names in tech, per se. There are some strong opposition, medium opposition, weak opposition, and then no comment all the way down. So we have strong opposition from leaders and from companies themselves, including Box, that's Dropbox, Lyft, Google, Instacart, Netflix, which I liked in particular. CEO Reed Hastings of Netflix said it was a very sad week when Trump was releasing all these orders, which are hard to not read as stuffed with evil. The actions are hurting Netflix employees from around the world and are so un-American and pains us all. Worse, these actions will make America less safe through hatred and loss of allies rather than more safe, which is something you can, even if you don't want to use words like empathy to describe what you're thinking, counterintuitive would also be a word to describe that. Also in strong opposition are Postmates, Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian, Salesforce, Slack, Uber, which again I mentioned off the top, maybe you could read that as not. However, they have donated $3 million as a legal defense fund. Y Combinator and Airbnb have all in various ways shown strong disapproval of the executive orders regarding 7 countries for immigration.
So, all right. Papers down. Here's my point on this. A lot of the time we're seeing people stating that companies have no right, their businesses, they need to be knowing their place, and that same rhetoric gets carried over to like actors and actresses and people that are voicing their concern now, because now it comes to the point in society where you are asked, or if not held accountable for everything that you're going to come out and say on this matter. Now, I don't agree with the individual side of it. Like, actors and actresses should not be scrutinized if they're not saying anything, right? So I believe that when you look at someone, you're like, you should be speaking out against this. I think that forces someone to try and just regurgitate words and maybe not actually feel it. So, but again, I'm not on the side of scrutinizing people like Meryl Streep or everyone at the SAG Awards who had a point to prove on this and a point to say. But what I do want from those type of people, on a brief tangent, is you got to be like consistent. I feel like, yes, you can use your platform to say what you feel, but if you want an example of how you're supposed to voice your concern and continue to voice it, look at 49ers quarterback, sorry Kim for mentioning sports, Colin Kaepernick, who not just voiced his concern, but I just did a clip recently, he's donating specific funds down to the last dollar, assigning them all over the country because he was outraged that Black Lives Matter was being tarnished and everything was being discredited in what he was saying, and people were in uproar about his protests, he doesn't do this. He is specifically donating to make sure that his cause is upheld. But when it comes to companies, I'm going to go against everything I just said. You now no longer can be neutral, I don't think. Because most companies in this country, if you look through their full employee list, I think you'll struggle to find one company that doesn't hold an immigrant in their ranks or from an immigrant family.
I think even most people who would consider themselves, regular Americans, you have an immigrant story. I definitely do. My mother was a war refugee, but my dad's my dad's family was also immigrants. It would be strange to consider any company that doesn't have ties to immigrants to America or any ties to people who would be considered customers in this way. It's very hard to not be politicized now. And I think when you're working in a capitalistic culture, it's going to come up, and you should make some sort of disavowal if you disagree with it. That would certainly bolster company support, even in a capitalistic way, that it would help make you money, which is what I said off the top of how I feel about Lyft.
Yeah.
I mean, on your other note about people saying celebrities should or should not talk out, it's odd to me that you hear people say, stay in your lane, don't do this. You're just an actor, you're just a model. Well, that's just their profession they've chosen in life, and something that if they're a celebrity, they've probably succeeded in. I don't think you should knock anyone down for making a good living for themselves in that way, or at least decide that they're stupid or they don't know anything. I mean, all of us are just people. All of us can arguably know a lot or know a little, and to go off of that very minor jumping off point, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and I agree with it to the point where there's a lot of people that will speak out in outrage, but a lot of the time in this country, with how much people are bombarding the internet with lies and a level of untruthfulness that is taken forward and pushed as actually a real true narrative, I feel that it's important, if you do use your platform to say something on the matter and to pick a side, that you again stay consistent and you follow through with it. One of my other videos I did a few months ago was how pissed off I was when people were outraged at Colin Kaepernick, but then stayed silent when Terence Crutcher was shot in the street. Like, you're immediately just going against what you complained about. You're saying that you have thoughts over his protest, but then when the matter that he is protesting comes up again, zip, nothing to say. So the same thing can be carried over to companies in this example. Like we mentioned there, you can no longer remain neutral, because you either don't employ immigrants, which is very small amount of people, I would imagine, because when you look at some of the most brilliant minds, especially in the tech industry that we're referencing here, a lot of them are immigrants. A lot of their families are going to be directly affected. And it's this convoluted idea that people are like, oh, but it's not really a ban. Well, tell that to those Muslims that maybe are now having to second guess whether they can go and visit their families, whether their families can come visit here, whether it's green card holders or it's not green card holders anymore. That's actual statements coming from the White House, from the correspondents like Sean Spicer, who's saying, oh, no, it does affect green card holders. Oh, no, it doesn't affect green card holders.
Oh, Sean Spicer, who retweeted
the president
Onion,
of Alternate Facts, yeah.
The Onion calling him the chief of misinformation, and
true.
Didn't really read it all the way through. Yeah. On that last note, I do want to point out that Google has done its largest humanitarian campaign to date in opposition of the immigration ban. They have put up $2 million in donations, and then it can be matched from $2 million from employees in order to help 4 different organizations, including the ACLU, the Immigrant Resource Center, the International Rescue Committee, and Mercy Corps. And I think that is a strong way of showing support and being a global partner and good at capitalism. So there are other companies that have been shown as being pretty weak in their support, including Facebook itself and Mark Zuckerberg. And there are some who haven't commented at all, like Oracle. I think it does matter what different companies have to say if what their livelihood is depends on this sort of major executive order. Audience, what are your thoughts on this? Please let us know below in the comments, and please like and subscribe for more.